Lord Chesterfield letters to his son. Today's is dated August 1741 from Paris. No date of the month given. Dear boy, since my last I have changed considerably for the better, from the deserts of Spa to the pleasures of Paris, which when you come here you will be better able to enjoy than I am. It is a most magnificent town, not near as big as London, but much finer, the houses being much larger and all built of stone. It was not only much enlarged, but embellished by the magnificence of the last king, Louis XIV, and a prodigious number of expensive buildings and useful and charitable foundations, such as libraries, hospitals, schools, etc., will long remain the monuments of the magnificence, humanity, and good government of that prince. The people are the people here are well bred, just as I would have you be. That they are not awkwardly bashful and ashamed like the English, but easily civil without ceremony. Though they are very gay and lively, they have attention to everything and always mind what they are about. I hope you do so too now, and that my highest expectations of your improvement will be more than answered at my return, for I expect to find you construe both. I find you construe both Greek and Latin, and likewise translate into those languages pretty readily, and also make verses in them both, and some little invention of your own. All this may be, all this may be, if you please, and I am persuaded you would have me disappointed. As to the genius of poetry, I own, if nature had not given it you, you cannot have it, for it is true maximum that poeta necenter non fit. But then that is only as the invention and imagination of a poet. For everybody can, by application, make themselves masters of the mechanical part of poetry, which consists in the numbers, rhymes, measures, and harmony of verse. Ovid was born with such a genius for poetry, and he says he would not help thinking in verse, whether he would or not, and that very often he spoke verses without intending it. It is much otherwise with oratory, and the maxim there is orator fit, for it is certain that by study and application every man can make himself a pretty good orator, eloquence depending upon observation and care. Every man, if he pleases, may choose good words instead of bad ones, may speak properly instead of improperly, may be clear and precipitous in his recitals instead of dark and muddy. He may have grace instead of awkwardness in his motions and gestures, and in short, may be very agreeable instead of a very disagreeable speaker. If he will take care and if he will take care and pains, and surely it is very well worthwhile to take a great deal of pains to excel other men in their particular article in which they excel beasts. Demosthenes, the celebrated Greek orator, thought it so absolutely necessary to speak well, and thought it naturally stuttered, though he naturally stuttered and had weak lungs. He resolved by application and care to get the better of those disadvantages. Accordingly, he cured his stammering by putting small pebbles into his mouth, and strengthened his lungs gradually by using himself every day to speak loud and distinctly for a considerable time. He likewise went often to the seashore in stormy weather when the sea made most noise, and there spoke as loud as he could in order to use himself to the noise and murmurs of the popular assemblies of the Athenians before whom he was to speak. But by such care, joined to the constant study of the best authors, he became at last the greatest orator of his own or any other age or country, though he was born without any one natural talent of it. Adieu. Copy Demosthenes.